Hey, good day, folks. Hope everyone's doing great today. I just want to show you my, I just want to show you guys my progress in the yard here. Uh, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, it's a mess, but I'm gonna clean this up tomorrow as much of it as I can. I mean, today my main focus was to clear more of the lot, which involved doing a lot of clipping and cutting and mowing of tall grass, and that's what I did today. So I'm gonna just show y'all where I'm at with all that. So I'm gonna turn the camera around and let you guys see it. Now today I came out and I cleared all this off, and like I told you guys before, I'm gonna leave all this for privacy reasons, because for one, it's good privacy, and secondly, it's a nice little backdrop for when I come out here and I do videos. But I cleared all this off. And I gotta clean all this up tomorrow. I mean, all this is cut down. I just gotta clean it up. And those trees that you see over there, I'm gonna leave all those for, again, it's good privacy and it's a nice backdrop for when I do my videos. All right, folks, I just wanted to show you guys the update. See you guys later. Good day, folks. Welcome to Angel's Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. Well, I'm just sitting inside the house for a minute. I'm just trying to warm up a little bit. I just got done doing some work out in the yard and it is freezing today. So I'm just sitting here warming up before I go back out to do more yard work. And I was just thinking, I've been seeing endless amounts of videos on YouTube here. You got all kind of people out here buying they buying land and they talking about they're going to homestead, they're going off grid. They talking about they're going to let their job go and they're going to live the quote unquote simple life. They're going to live a life debt free. They're going to live cheap, all that good stuff. You know what? And I hope these people achieve accomplishing their goals. I wish they would ask one of these people the best of luck. But there is one thing which I want to talk about. For those of you that are considering quitting your job and purchasing land, and you're considering building an off grid, you're considering living off grid, or you're considering living having a homestead, or whatever the case might be. I just want to, I don't know where to begin. I'm not sure where some of these individuals get that by purchasing land in most cases in the middle of nowhere, it's gonna somehow enable them to live the quote unquote easier life, simpler life. I mean, for the life of me, I don't get where people think that purchasing land in the middle of nowhere is going to enable them to live this simple, cheaper life. And this is what I'm talking about. Now, for those of you that have been following me, you know that I've purchased a house up in Indiana, which I'm currently getting fixed up so I can rent it out. Now, I was up in Indiana a week ago, and I'm going to go back up there very soon here because I got more things up there that I got to get done. But the time that I was up in Indiana, I spent some time in that house. And I made a few videos while I was in that house talking about some of the advantages of living in the city. And I just got to thinking, if I were to live in that little house up in Indiana full time, now the house is small. It's like it's a little over 750 square feet of living space. The lot size is 6,500 square feet, so it's not that big of a lot. In this house, it's got everything. It's got all the basics. It's got a nice size one car garage. And the house itself is, it's a 2 room, 1 bath, all the basics. You know, it doesn't have any extras, no thrills. It's a no nonsense type of house. And I got to thinking, if I were to decide to move into that small house, and I guess I'll show you, I'm not going to show you a picture of the exact house, but I will show you a picture of what the house looks like somewhat. Okay, now that picture I showed you again is not the picture of my house. It's a picture that is similar to what I have. So I got to thinking, if I were to live in that house all year round, I mean, number one, my energy bills would most likely be cheaper. Now, granted, I have not received my gas bill for this month yet, but I'm pretty sure once I receive it, it's going to probably be cheaper than the gas that I spent down here in Alabama. Because for one, this house is double the size of that house, and secondly, my gas down here is propane, which propane is one of the most expensive ways that you can utilize gas. I mean, natural gas is a lot better and it's a lot cheaper compared to propane. So I'm pretty sure when I get my gas bill, it's going to be a lot lower than what I paid down here in Alabama because up there I got natural gas. But I was thinking, if I were to move into that house full time, I mean, when it comes to the maintenance of the yard, I don't have to own a zero turn. I can just go to Walmart and buy a regular push behind mower for a couple $100 and I'm good. I don't have to have no zero turn. I don't have to worry about going through a gallon of gas. I mean, not a gallon. I don't have to worry about going through, yeah, a gallon or so of gas every couple of weeks. That gallon of gas would instead last me for more like a month, if not longer. And so I got to thinking about that. While I was up there, I was thinking about that. And I also got to thinking, when it comes to keeping a house that's smaller clean, you know, it would take me a lot less time to clean that house compared to what it takes to clean this house here in Alabama because the house here is a lot bigger. And I also got to thinking about the maintenance and the repairs. Like when it comes time to do maintenance and repair to my house up in Indiana, again, there will be far less to do and it would be significantly cheaper because again, it's a smaller structure. even during the summertime, it would probably prove to be cheaper to keep heated because, again, it's a smaller structure. And not only that, but when it comes to one's ability to earn an income, I mean, let's just be real. You got a lot of people that are going out here, they're buying land in the middle of nowhere, and then they're building a YouTube channel, walking you through how they're developing their land, which is cool. That's some neat stuff to watch. However, not everyone that starts a YouTube channel is gonna make enough money off of YouTube in order to not have to work a regular 9 to 5. Even if you want to start your own business, there's no guarantee your business is even going to make you enough money for you to be able to pay all your bills. You still might have to go work you a 9 to 5 at least temporarily. So with that being said, I got to thinking, if I were to move into my small house full time up in Indiana, since the house is located in the city, I would also be much closer to employment opportunities. So even, so it's like, yeah, if my YouTube didn't do squat, you know what? I'm not worrying about that. I can just go get me a regular 9 to 5 job and make my money that way, and I'm good. I was just thinking about that. Not to mention that I was within 5 minutes of a lot of amenities that I frequent. I was within 5 minutes of grocery stores, the gym. If I had to, I was within 5 minutes of the laundromat. I was less than 10 minutes away from decent auto mechanics in the area. If I wanted to grab a bite to eat, that was only about 5 minutes or so from the house up in Indiana. And hell, you know what? If I wanted to go to the park, if I wanted to go to the local park and walk and just, I don't know, do some walking, do some exercising, enjoy some fresh air, I would say within 10 minutes of that house, within 10 minutes of that house, I would have had access to 3 parks. I would have access to 3 parks. Two of them, I believe, yeah, 2 of them were city parks, and then one was the state. One was the state park. So I would have access to 3 parks within, I would say, 10 minutes of that house up in Indiana. As we're down here where I'm at, the closest park where I'm at down here is a half hour away. The closest grocery store where I'm at right now, again, is 25 minutes away. When it comes to employment opportunities, if I'm lucky to find something that pays for the damn, it's going to be at least 45 minutes away. Oh, and as far as doing gig work, I'm going to be driving every bit of an hour to get into the metro. Not to mention that where I'm at here in Alabama, everything closes at 8 and 9 o'clock in the evening around where I'm at. So if I needed, so where I'm at now, anywhere I need to go, decent auto mechanic, any of that kind of stuff, I'm gonna be 25 minutes to a half hour away. Well, yeah, I'm gonna be 25 minutes to a half hour away. Oh, if fortunately, I own multiple vehicles. Now, let's say I was here, I've only owned one vehicle. If I was a one vehicle person like I used to be, if that vehicle were to malfunction, not only will I have to, I mean, well, okay, well, once I get that vehicle to an auto mechanic, which is 25 minutes away from here, how do I get around? Like where I live, there ain't no taxi services. And if I try to get an Uber, I'm gonna be paying out the fucking nose for an Uber. As where my house in Indiana, which is in the city, if I needed a taxi service, there's a couple of different taxi services in the city. And plus, it would be much easier and much more affordable for me to utilize an Uber. Not to mention that not to mention like if I wanted to go somewhere, it would also be much easier for me to catch a Greyhound or to go to the local enterprise and rent me a car. Like here where I'm at in Alabama, the closest enterprise to here is going to be 25 minutes away. The closest Greyhound terminal is going to be, I would say, more like 40 minutes or so away. But if I want a terminal that runs full time, it would be more like an hour away. I'll have to drive into the metro. As where my house up in Indiana, all that would be a lot closer. So the part where it's cheaper, so the part where it's easier to live out in the country, I'm gonna be honest. Now, if country living is what you desire for whatever reason, that's cool. But to say that living out in the country compared to living out in the city is easier, I don't see I don't see that being the case at all. I think it's easier to live in the city than it is to live out in the country. Now, me personally, I find it easier to make friends. I mean, I'm not that much of a sociable person. I'm gonna just keep it real. But I find it much easier to gain genuine connections in the city than I do out in the country. Because out in the country, most people, unless they already know you, they prefer to just stay to themselves and with the people that they already know. As we're in the city, it's not, at least from my experience, it's not like that. And given that things are closer in the city than they are out in the country, I mean, for those reasons and other reasons, I just find living in the city easier. So if I was looking for an easier life, a simpler life, it would be in the city. Because in the city, your lot sizes are generally smaller than they are in the country. And plus, in the city, everything you need is a lot closer, is in much closer proximity to your residence than it would be if you're out in the country. And if you live somewhere where it snows, if you're in the city, you don't have to worry so much about your road, about the street in front of your house not getting plowed. As where if you're out in the country, they might not come and plow your streets for several days after the snow falls. So hopefully you got a 4x4 vehicle that can get you out. Just saying. Now, as far as it being cheaper to live out in the country in comparison to the city, well, it depends on how you look at what's cheaper. Now, granted, I would say in most cases, if you choose to buy something that's out in the country, yes, you will get more bang for the buck. Like if you have, let's say, a couple $100,000 to drop on a house, you buy something in the country, okay, you might be able to, and let's say you want to live somewhere in the Midwest. Okay, a couple $100,000, you might be able to buy you something that the house itself might be maybe, what it say, 1,500 square feet, and it might sit on an acre or two of land, completed with a two-car garage, a paved driveway, maybe a nice sized storage shed, maybe even a fenced-in yard. If you want to buy something out in the country, that's what you might be able to get. And again, let's assume that you're looking to live in the Midwest, or you're looking to live in certain parts of the Deep South, the two parts of the country that I'm the most familiar with. As where if you took that same $200,000 and you wanted to buy something that was in the city, well, okay, well, you might be able to get that 1,500 square foot house, but your lot size is not going to be 1 or 2 acres. You're going to be looking at your lot size might, if you're lucky, your lot size may not be much bigger than a half acre. You might get a 1 car garage. You might get a little small storage shed. Not to mention that your property taxes in the city are going to also be more expensive. Like your property tax rates in the city might be double compared to what it might be out in the country. So if you look at housing, so when it comes to cheaper housing, if you look at it from that standpoint, yes, it's going to be cheaper to live out in the country for most people in most cases. So, however, when you're living out in the country, a few things you got to take into consideration is A, how far are you going to have to drive to get to basic amenities that you frequent, such as places to take your vehicle for service, grocery shopping, other kind of shopping. Maybe you might want to treat yourself to, maybe you might want to treat the family somewhere out to eat. So how long of a drive is it going to be to get to your restaurants? If you like to work out with the weights at the gym, how long is it going to take you to get there? I mean, granted, yeah, you can build your own gym at the house. I get all that. But most people that move out, a lot of people that move out in the country, they're not thinking about doing all that. Let's just keep it real. Oh, and let's not forget, if something breaks in your house and you need a technician to come over to do repairs for you, let's say it's something significant. Let's say it's something larger, to where you may not be able to do the repairs yourself. Well, if you're out in the country, you got a couple of choices. A, you can figure out how to do it yourself. Or if you can't, then you might be waiting for a couple of weeks for a technician to come and do the work for you. As where if you're in the city and you get into a situation like that, you can call a technician and chances are there'll be a tech at your front door within the next day or two. So that's something you got to think about when you're living out in the country. And again, how about work? How about means of earning an income? Like if you're out in the country and you're thinking, okay, well, I got my little business, I got my little YouTube channel, I don't need a regular job, I'm good. Okay, cool, congratulations. But what if something happens to any of those streams of income and now you find yourself needing to earn more money in order to pay your bills, in order to remain financial responsibility? What happens then? Well, guess what? You might have to go look for a job. If you're out in the country, it might take you 45 minutes to an hour, if not even longer, to get to a job that pays worth a damn. As for if you're in the city, you can get to that same job within maybe, 20 minutes, a half hour, 45 minutes tops. Not to mention that you'll be in closer proximity to positions that pay better. Or if you just want to do some gig work real quick to make a little extra buck on the side. If you're out in the country, by the time you drive to the closest city to do gig work, the money you make doing that gig job may not even be worth its while, because you'll be spending half that money on gas. As for if you're in the city, you can go to your app, you can do what you gotta do, get signed on, and you can start working immediately. So when it comes to one's ability to earn an income, I find it much easier to earn an income in the city as opposed to being out in the country. And the way that people talk about making money out in the country, guess what? You can do the same thing in the city. Plus, you still have all the benefits of living in the city when it comes to earning an income. And also when you live out in the country, when it comes to yard equipment. If you have to mow acres of land, at the least, you're going to have to invest in a riding lawnmower, which will run you a few $1,000s to purchase. As where if you live in town and you just have a regular city-sized lot, maybe a lot that's, let's say, in upwards of 9,000 square feet, you can just go to your local Walmart or Lowe's and get you a regular push behind mower for a couple $100s and call it a day. And if you get that riding mower and your blade gets dull or something on the mower goes wrong, and for whatever reason you can't figure how to fix it yourself, you gotta take that mower and take it to a technician for repair. As for with a push mower, if something like that happens, it's going to be much easier for you to transport that mower to a technician, and it's going to be a lot cheaper for those repairs. As for with a riding mower, if you don't already own a pickup truck with a trailer, you're going to have to go rent all that stuff from U-Haul. And speaking of vehicles, if you're out in the country, I would advise, if you're by yourself out in the country, I would advise you to have at least 2 vehicles. That way, if one vehicle is broke down and it's in the shop being repaired, you got another vehicle. You can keep on, driving that vehicle, and you can do what you gotta do and get things done. You know what I'm saying? Go, whatever. So out in the country, you need at least 2 vehicles. As well, if you're in the city and you only want to operate one vehicle because you're frugal, okay, cool. When that vehicle breaks down, although it's going to be an inconvenience, you can utilize public transportation. You can utilize taxi services. If you're in a city that has sidewalks, you can even walk to certain places. You can ride your bike to certain places. You're out here in the country, you ain't going to be walking or riding a bike nowhere unless you're trying to get your ass ran the fuck over. I'm just keeping it real. Not to mention that it's going to be too far of a distance for you to walk or ride your bike if you're out in the cut like this. As for if you're in the city, all that is going to be much more feasible for you to do. So those are things that you need to take into consideration when deciding to purchase land out in the country. Because there's some people out here that are not cut out for country life. There's people out here that would do far better living in the city. Let's just keep it real. And there's people out here that might live out in the country today. They might be happy that they purchased their land in the middle of nowhere today. And they might come back and they might do an update video at some point on some, this is not what we wanted. This is not the lifestyle we wanted. Next thing you know, they got their land up for sale, and now they're looking to buy something back in the city again because they found out after several years of living out in the country that living out in the cut like that ain't really them. They rather be in town where they're closer to shit. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I just wanted to make this video just to kind of talk about this whole, it's easier and cheaper and simpler to live out in the country as opposed to the city. I just wanted to make a video just debunking a lot of that stuff. Now, granted, if you enjoy living out in the country, okay, do what it do. Me personally, I enjoy the country life, but I also recognize and value the conveniences of living in the city. So I would suggest that before you buy that land, for those of you that are considering living in the city and moving out in the country, is it truly going to be cheaper to live out in the country? Or would you do better staying in the city and just finding ways to improve your life in the city? And another thing is, don't move out here in the country because you saw some fast, slick talking YouTuber or social media influencer suggest that you leave the city and you move out in the country. Don't fall for the whole city bad, country good rhetoric. Don't fall for it. Before you buy that piece of land out in the country, out in the middle of nowhere, use your brain. Do a little bit of critical thinking. Sit down with your family, if you have one, or sit down with your significant other, if you have one, and do a little bit of critical thinking. Do you really want to leave the city? Is country life going to be it for you? Is it truly going to be the answer for you? And on that note, that's all I got. Now let me get back out here and do some more work out in my yard. I'm going to holler at you all. All right, folks, I'm just going to give you a quick update on the yard here. So I'm going to turn you guys around and show you what I accomplished. Alright folks, today I came out here and I took all the limbs that were laying on the grass and I put them all towards the back right by the trees. This is what it looks like. I try to separate these a little bit. I got the branches, and then I got a few small logs in their own pile. Now, out here in the country, people generally will take all this and put it in a burn pile and burn this. Now, me personally, I got fire phobia, so I don't like to really burn stuff. And why I got fire phobia? Well, it's a long story that I don't feel like discussing. But I'm fire phobic, so I'm not a big fan of burning stuff. So I'm gonna figure out a way to get all this off my yard at some point. But for now, I thought I would just put all this in nice, neat piles, put it all back. Let the decomposition process begin. And another thing is, for those of you that are doing yard work, whenever you have any dead limbs laying in your yard, it's a good idea to keep the limbs. Let me turn you, I'm gonna turn you guys around again. Yeah, whenever you got dead limbs in the yard, it's a good idea to keep your limbs away from any structures you have, whether it be, any structures, your house, any type of additional buildings or storage sheds, especially if they're made out of wood. It's a good idea to keep your dead limbs away from all that due to termites, because termites, once they eat up the wood, then they're gonna attack your structure, especially if it's made out of wood. So that's why I came out today. Well, that's one of the reasons why I came out today, and I decided to clear all the limbs away and put them here in the back. That, and also just makes my yard look a little neater, FYI. And secondly, if you're living anywhere in the deep south, this is a time of year, this is the best time of year to come out and do yard work. Like, if you purchase some land, or if you're just wanting to pull some weeds and make your yard look a little nicer, I always say the best time of the year to do that type of yard work is anywhere from, I would say, December to March. Because during this time of the year, the weather is going to be the coldest. A lot of your weeds are going to be dead, so it's going to be easier for you to pull them. A lot of your trees are going to be bare, they're not going to have leaves on them. So if you're wanting to get rid of some of your smaller trees, it's going to be that much easier to get rid of because you don't have to worry about leaves. And also, during this time of the year, you also won't have to worry as much about critters. You won't have to worry so much about spiders. You won't have to deal with mosquitoes and other kind of bugs. You won't have to deal so much with snakes, because down here in the deep south we do got snakes. And yes, we do got those water moccasins down here too. So FYI, for those of you that want to move to the deep south. So yeah, that's why I decided to clear some of this yard right now during the frigid cold, because this is the best time of the year to do yard work. It's the best time of the year for all the reasons that I just explained. All right, folks, that's my update. Stay blessed.